It's something how the storms of life can be defining moments in your life. On the outside, you may be distressed, broken, or have lost it all. But on the inside, God is forming you through extreme heat and pressure. God is taking you through a process. He's refining you, molding you, shaping you, and developing you into the beautiful diamond that you're meant to be. One that isn't barren, but shines with divine beauty, with a cut from God himself, handcrafted in his own image. For the old thing has to pass away in order for God to do a new thing in you. So I found myself at one of those defining moments. Divorce, hurt, betrayed, and trying to figure it all out. Before the divorce, I was a woman of many hats. The devoted wife, the loving mom and stepmom, the dependable employee, the family and friend everyone can count on. I wore those hats proudly, with confidence, always striving for the betterment of myself, my family, and those around me. And with that, you tend to place everything and everyone before yourself, neglecting your own self-care and needs. So when the wife hat was taken off, I was devastated. I had put my all into that marriage. After the infidelity on his part, and welcoming a new child that wasn't mine, I was still there. After the 3 a.m. wake-ups to cook, to make sure he had a home-cooked meal for lunch, I was still there. Bringing the kids to practice, to school, managing the household, running the business, I was still there. After still being there and giving my all, I still ended up in a divorce. Now, I'm an accountant and pretty good with numbers, and that just didn't add up to me. That wasn't how it was supposed to go. I thought you get a reward for being there through the thick and thin. I thought you get a reward for honoring your marriage vows. A pat on the back? Something? No. I got hit with divorce papers. And it was in that very moment I knew I had to switch gears. They say doing the same thing expecting different results is a sign of insanity. And I knew I wasn't insane by a long shot. So I made a decision. If I can give that much time, energy, commitment, sacrifice into that marriage, I knew I can give all that plus more into me. So that's what I started doing. Pouring into Candy. Focusing on me and my kids. Working on my self-development. Overcoming my weaknesses. And that's when I joined Toastmasters. One of the best decisions of my life. You see, one of my weaknesses had been my voice. My voice had been silent for years. Not just because I grew up shy and timid, but because I placed everything and everyone before me, further silencing my own needs. So yes, I may have been divorced, betrayed, hurt, or even silent. Oh, but I rise. Not as who I was, but as who I was becoming. Toastmasters week after week, and I absolutely loved it. Toastmasters had became my own little therapy session. Therapy I didn't even know I needed. I began to get involved with the speeches and telling my story, and it became an outlet of release. Sometimes we bottle up things so well on the inside of us because we're strong, and we tell ourselves, we got this. However, when I began to open my mouth wide and allow God to fill it, it became so therapeutic and so rewarding. Because not only did I get to tell my story, but I got to hear the stories of others that blessed me on my personal journey. Over time, I became totally healed and totally whole from that divorce. But just like the storms of life, when you make it through one storm, here comes another, right on its tail. And this storm for me, whew, it was the hardest storm of them all. A financial storm. Oh, it tested everything in me. My faith, my focus, my fight. Oh, but I was determined to get to the other side of that storm. Sure, I really had no choice. Everybody was depending on me. My kids, the household, and all the bills that came along with that. Oh, how can I forget? My oldest daughter was a senior in high school. And parents, we know about that senior year. The budgets, the fees, the commitments. And then there was the business. The business is like a second household. Rent, utilities, insurance, staff, payroll. Everybody was depending on me. And me, I'm depending on the Lord up above. Sometimes those storms are sent as a test. Sometimes God's trying to get something to you and get something through you, but you're too busy. In my case, God had to totally deplete me to get me to be still for a moment, to listen to his voice and take heed to his instructions concerning my life. God depleted me, broke me, just to build me right back up so that I can properly manage and be ready for the next that he's bestowing upon my life. So yes, I may have been broken, depleted, and tested. Oh, but I rise when life pressed me from every side. One of my weaknesses in my speech was the speed in which I communicated. I talk fast. And don't let me get excited, then I start talking even faster. Adding a little stutter in the mix. Coming to Toastmasters helped me improve that. I was able to identify a weakness and work on it by constantly coming to Toastmasters, getting my reps in, and work on my pace. Oh, how ironic was that? Because the speed in which I communicated mirrored the speed in which I lived my life. At a fast pace, quick, always with the hustle and bustle. I would wake up early in the morning to do my morning devotion, and after that, it's downhill from that. Wake up the kids, bring them to school, drop them off, go to work, pick them up, practice, dinner, homework, repeat. And while the rest of the world is winding down, I'm heading straight to the office to manage a business, help our clients, making sure we meet our goals. On the weekends, working the business. During holidays, working the business. Hosting tax schools, mentorships, training sessions, going to networking events, and going, and going, and going, and going, like the Energizer Bunny. because I was a woman of many hats. I got this. This is what I do. I maintain. I hold it all together and wear these hats with honor and pride. Well, after the years of all the hustle and bustle and trying to maintain and hold it all together, it tends to take a toll on you. And whether you want to admit it or not, you start to get a little tired, burned out, beat, and you need that break. You know the one that you always promise yourself but never give yourself? Yeah, that one. And that's where I was in my life. The financial storm forced me into a place of stillness. It was just me and God. I was in my isolation season. I had to learn how to block out the distractions. I had to learn how not to glorify the problem, the financial lack, but glorify God's promise. That He is a way maker. That God is Jehovah Jireh, my provider. Nothing missing, nothing lacking. That God will never leave me or forsake me. I had to hold on tight to God's word and my faith in order to get to the other side of that storm. The other side is what I like to call the promised land. The land flowing with milk and honey. So yes, I may have been tested, worn, weary, and waiting in the wilderness. Oh, but I rise, walking in God's promise and flowing in His grace. I'm in an absolutely amazing season in my life right now. God has given me my 3 R's: restoration, relief, and rest. I'm living in my Amos 9:13 season. Yes, indeed, it won't be long, God's decree. Things are going to happen so fast your head will swim. One thing fast on the heel of another, and you won't be able to keep up. Everywhere you look, blessings. Remember my high school senior? She is now a college sophomore at Howard University, maintaining a 4.0 GPA. And my other 2 kids are authors at the age of 12 and 6. Oh, but I I celebrated a decade in business and received a proclamation from the city of New Orleans for my service. I received a proclamation for my service, for educating our clients, and for providing jobs. Oh, but I got me a new man now. My soulmate, my best friend, a man who motivates me, who inspires me, who pushes me to greatness, and who loves my kids like his own. Oh, but I am no longer silent, but I'm using my voice as I stand here before you ladies today telling my story. Oh, but I rise. Ladies, I stopped by here to let you guys know that if you're in a season where you're under pressure, in extreme heat, or feeling unbearable, just know that you're not being destroyed, you're being developed. You're not buried, you're being blessed. You're not broken, you're being built. For it is only temporary. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And when it comes, it's going to be your turn to rise. Through the heartbreak, you will rise. Through a financial storm, you will rise. Through self-doubt and silence, you will rise. And when you surrender it all to God, you will rise. Just like me, you will rise from your storms. And when you do, remember my word.